the legends from the city, man. Go ahead and tell them who you is, man.
Well, my name is Yusef, also known as G-Man, Gump. I was on the Junior Black Mafia case. I did, 26 years? Excuse me. Yeah, let me tell you something. I did 26 years. I've been home for 5 years. You know, I grew up on the southwest Philadelphia side. And
what's your area back? Where you at back there in Southwest? Where you grew up at?
You know, I'm from Woodland Avenue.
Okay.
Grew up around that area. And
how was it growing up out of Woodland? How was it like growing up as a kid? How was it growing up down out there?
You had to be a fighter, you know, coming up in that area back then. You know, we moved from South Philly, from Tasker to 49th Street. And back then you had to know how to fight. This is how it was. So a lot of us, we participated in the Southwest Youth Center. You know, all of us came up with the, you know, dreams of being professional fighters.
Right.
So boxing always been, you know, always in my life.
Okay. You all was in the ring, amateur, professionally?
Well, yeah, we all back then fought amateur, you know, neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Was it hard to say I'm gonna be a boxer and leave the streets alone, or was the streets the streets was too much? Like,
yeah, I mean, the streets, it just had a magnetic attraction, and you would try to stay in the gym, but the streets always, you know, was right there calling me. You know, it was very hard to leave the streets alone and stay focused and stay in the gym.
right. All right. So you say you was a part of the Junior Black Mafia case.
Yes.
Before we get in that, how did the Junior Black Mafia start? If you got any recollection of that, how did that start?
Well, you know, back then it was a group of us. We was young guys, you know, hustling and making, you know, a lot of money. We never called ourselves the Junior Black Mafia. And how they gave us the title is the same way they called the original Black Mafia. That gave them that title is, you know, through the news media and deception. They went on TV, what was it? July of 1988, they sent this guy. His name was Michael Youngblood. He was a federal informant, face blanked out, voice altered. He got on Channel 6 Action News, and he said, I'm a member of a new and emerging gang called the Junior Black Mafia. He had a ring on his finger with the initial J.B.M. And in that interview, in which he was a federal informant, he said, we're gonna kill all the Jamaicans in the city.
You, come in.
Well,
You doing a little interview. I'm about to be done. We gonna check it out.
From that interview, he said, we're gonna kill all the Jamaicans in the city. And he started out this interview saying, I'm a member of a new and emerging gang called the Junior Black Mafia. And the camera angled in on his hand, and they had the ring J.B.M, the initials J.B.M. And that's how, through the media, you know, they gave us that name.
So this guy he was an informant, right?
He was an informant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
And the only ring that ever was confiscated at that time should have been in the DEA's evidence room. So it shows a collusion between the FBI and the DEA. Because how did this man get this ring on his finger? If he's an FBI informant and the ring was in the DEA's locker, he had my co-defendant's ring on his hand, the only ring that was ever confiscated. And that's how they started that name. And then from that interview, they went to a judge and they got search warrant affidavits, and they went around searching houses and, so initially it was corrupt misconduct to even go to a judge knowing that you got somebody that belonged to y'all that was an informant to go on national TV and create this name, and then you take this interview to a judge and get search warrants. So that tells the story right there.
So the dude that was the informant, was he like down with y'all? Was he acting like he was down, or was he around?
He wasn't around us. He had nothing to do with our case.
Okay.
But they sent him on TV with his face blanked out,
Okay.
voice altered,
And all that, right?
and they made it appear that it was one of us.
Mm.
Because back then, who the hell would go on TV?
Right, and see all that, right?
Channel 6 Action News in a dark studio room talking about they a junior black mafia member, and then at the same time they created a war between black people and Jamaicans, because his first words were, we're going to exterminate all the Jamaicans in the city.
On the news.
On the news.
Mm.
Channel 6, a special edition of Crime Fighters, Channel 6 Action News, July of 1988.
Mm. So what did y'all call yourself? Or did y'all call yourself anything? Or like,
back then we was young guys making money. We just called ourselves the Just Blowing Money Crew.
Just Blowing Money Crew.
Mm-hmm.
But they made it like it was some J.B.
They turned it in
right.
After confiscating that ring. They
right.
came up with that ideal of junior black mafia. So that's how that name got out there.
Okay. So the junior black mafia. How long was that reign? When did it start, and when could you say that it ended, if it did? And how long was that reign? Because, like I said, on the outside looking in, it looked like it was just a short reign, like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years. Like how long was it?
Well, according to the indictment and the federal court, it was from 85 to 91.
Okay. And from that time, like, was that a good time in your life, or was it, looking back, it was like how was it from 85 to 91? How was it for you?
I mean, well, back then, when you're young, hustling and trying to make money, it was good times. It was more unity. It was more. It's not like it is today. Everybody was more together than they are right now.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I was talking to somebody else named Mooch. You know what I mean? He said the same thing, was unity. You know what I mean? Everybody was together. But all right, so you said you was on a case. You caught a case with them.
Yeah.
So what year was that?
That was we went to prison. Well, actually, I was in prison from already in 89. So 89. So in 1991, October 3rd, 1991, we were indicted in the federal court on this case, the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. And when we were indicted, it was 26 of us.
Mm. Everybody stood up, or?
Yeah, everybody stood up.
Yeah, that's the word.
No one flipped.
Mm.
We all, went to trial. Some of us pled guilty,
mm-hmm.
and took our time like men.
All right. How long did you do?
I did 26 years.
26.
Mm-hmm.
What was the charges? What was your charges? You want to speak on it?
Conspiracy, and then 4 years into my time, they came and gave me a RICO case, which called for the death penalty. But Allah blessed me to get found not guilty of all charges on the second case.
Okay, so your little brother is my big brother. You know what I mean? Little Charlie from Southwest.
Yes.
How do y'all know each other? Like, tell me back to the genesis.
Growing up in that area, I know Charlie uncles and family, and Charlie was like, always like our little brother, you know what I'm saying? I would see Charlie, you know, Charlie was always a little fighter, you know what I'm saying? And I would always scoop Charlie up, you know, take him shopping, you know what I'm saying? Like make sure he was good because I knew his uncles are like my own age. And I always would, you know, make sure Charlie was good, even to this day.
Right, right. Yeah, he speak highly of you. So, you got any like memorable moments with Charlie, like, or like any type thing you remember him from? You know, like damn, this dude. You said he was a fighter.
But yeah, well, Charlie used to have his dog with him all the time.
Pit bull.
Yeah, pit bulls. Charlie used to have he always used to have the dog with him. And I remember one time on 53rd and Chester, I seen Charlie fighting two dudes. They had sticks and everything. I see Charlie like beat both of them up. He was fighting the two dudes and his dog was fighting with him. So I always used to just say, you know, Charlie, he's something else. He always was a fighter.
Right. So when you was in the system, was there any like names you like? I don't want to say famous, but was any type people in there that's like they got a little name out here, or even not out here, out of state? Who you ran into in there?
Yeah.
You say you did 26 years, so I know you ran into some type.
Yeah. There's a lot of names, and I'll tell you each and every one of them because you know when you're in that system, you know good men always
right.
You know relate to other good men.
Right.
So I was with Freeway Rick, the real Rick Ross.
How was he? And like, what type guy is he?
A straight up dude, you know, always was, you know, we clicked just like that. We was in Lompoc, California, and we used to walk the yard every single day. And Rick used to tell me about his case, how he was dealing with a Nicaraguan named Meneses and Blandon, and they were CIA operatives. He didn't know at the time. So they was bringing Rick 5,000 keys of coke. He thought they was his brothers. And then I used to sit with him and review his paperwork, and Rick used to tell me all the stories, you know, about them. You know, they was living in Beverly Hills, and they would, in front of Rick's face, they would call him his brother. You know, they had love. He used to stay with him. And then when he got the transcripts and all that, he saw that they was on some racial time. They was calling him behind his back, calling him monkeys, niggas, and that, you know, hurt him because he really thought they was real. He didn't know that they were CIA operatives, that they,
right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that really affected him. He used to always walk and tell me about it, you know, because Rick was making what, $3 million a day, you know, and he would tell me how he was trying to, you know, do good things for the neighborhood.
You still talk to him to this day?
Oh, I talk to Rick maybe every other day, every couple of days.
How you feel about that snowfall? The little episode he made about him. He like it? How you feel about it?
Well, it was really a messed up thing that John Singleton did to him. He talked to me about it all the time. Like, he didn't take care of Rick. He took Rick's story and switched it around, changed the names, and he benefited off of that. And he never gave Rick anything for it. And Rick was really disappointed in him. You know, he know these guys.
That's crazy.
It's a shame that, you know, he took Rick's story and ran with it and made all that money. It's definitely his story.
That's crazy. So I want to go back a little bit. With your case, it was some type of corruption in your case, right? It was some corrupted things going on.
Oh, that's like unbelievable corruption. You know? First of all, the agent that was on our case, well, I can go straight to the U.S. attorney at that time, Michael M. Belson, who is a federal judge to this day.
What's his name again?
Michael M. Belson. He spearheaded the investigation to our case. You know what I'm saying? And then
let him know what you mean by that, spearheaded.
when I say spearheaded, he was the one that put all, the resources in place to investigate us. The agents that was on our case, first of all, it was a corrupt agent by the name of Special Agent Jesse Coleman. You know what I'm saying? And he shouldn't have been on our case because he was the brother-in-law to one of my co-defendants, and that was that should have been deemed a conflict of interest at that time.
You want to say the co-defendant name or?
My co-defendant Aaron Jones.
Okay.
His brother-in-law Jesse should have never been on our case, just due to the fact that he's related to
right.
him. And what happened was, we get indicted, and this agent had sole authority over the entire investigation, the wiretaps. He deputized the state police for the wiretaps, but every wiretap went directly to his office. So he was able to monitor and edit these wiretaps. Any mention of his name, he could take his name out of it. You understand what I'm saying? And that, was a conflict within itself.
Did he get in any type of trouble for that or any?
Well, from what I know and what I heard that they stepped to him. They said, we know that you got some type of involvement or some type of relationship with these guys. We're going to investigate and indict you along with them. Instead of doing that, they flipped it around and made him special agent in charge over everything. So by them making him special agent in charge of the entire investigation, he was able to take out any mention of his name and, take the investigation into a whole different, direction.
He could do whatever he want with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did.
That's crazy.
That's exactly what he did. And then when we get indicted, October 3rd, 1991, our case was assigned to the calendar of a judge by the name of Herbert Hutton. They take the case away from, they take the case, remember, all judges are randomly selected. It's like in federal court, it's a lottery pool, and we get our case assigned to Herbert Hutton, and on October 29th, 1991, they take the case away from Herbert Hutton and reassign it to the calendar of Judge Marvin Katz. He's deceased now, but Judge Katz role in this case, and I was right there, he protected the credibility of the corrupt agent, Jesse Coleman, while he was on the stand. And I'll give you an example of how he did it. Our lawyers was trying to question the agent, how did you get this case? And on the witness stand, he says the U.S. attorney made me take the case. He gave me an ultimatum to either take this case or get out of town. He didn't mention the true punishment, but he said if he wouldn't have took this case, he would have to leave town. He used that, but the true punishment was he would probably be investigated and indicted himself.
So you originally had to do you was sentenced to 30 years?
Yes, I was sentenced.
And you did 26 out of 30.
Yes.
While you was in it, you was getting in trouble, or was it like smooth bid, or because I'm thinking like out of 30, probably that's close up to 30. 26, that's only 4 years from 30.
What a lot of people don't understand when you say the feds, people think, oh, you going to the feds is sweet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they think you going on some type of golf course or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
But they got serious penitentiaries that go harder than any state.
For a fact.
Penitentiary. And you got, when you in prison, in federal prison, the penitentiary, you know, you locked up with people from neighborhoods from all over the nation, Chicago, Los Angeles, you know, New York, DC, you know, so you in there with people that came up hard like you came up hard.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's not a good combination, but most of the time, you know, good men recognize good men no matter where you go.
Right. So me personally, I got to go sit down. You know, they sends me to 7.5 for witness intimidation or whatever. So like, what could you say to me? What type of advice could you give me? Because I've been to FDC, and I mean that's like the county or whatever.
Right.
So I ain't go to no jails yet. So when I turn myself in, I gotta go to a jail. You know what I'm saying? So what advice would you give me?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna let you know you in good hands because I know everybody in every prison. You know what I'm saying? From different places, different states, and I'm always, you know, be in contact with you. And wherever you at, you know, I'm gonna say 10 times out of 10, I know somebody here. So, you know, we always gonna check for each other, and you're always gonna be good no matter where you go. And you know, you your own man, you know, and
Right.
they gonna respect and love you. You know what I mean?
Right.
You meeting good dudes from different cities that, you know, that's going through the same situation and scenarios that we go through. So you're gonna be good no matter where you at.
All right. So I'm gonna ask you this: you did 26 years. You just came home 5 years ago.
Yes.
How was it adjusting to this new world? Everybody got their head in. How was it adjusting to this new world? Because when I came home in 2010, I had to adjust. Like, whoa, everybody just looking at their phone, all this technology. Now is even more. You came home 5 years ago. That's 2016, right? So how was it adjusting?
Actually, yeah, it was 2015.
Oh, 15. Okay.
When I first came home, I was in a halfway house, Germantown and Lehigh.
I know exactly, right by Sunpay.
Exactly. So when I walked out, you know, they give you like 30 minutes to an hour to go, you know, get cosmetics and stuff like that. You know, you still, you know, locked in that joint. So when I walked out, I was seeing people, you know, walking around. It was like they was talking to themselves. And I was like, damn, there's a lot of mentally ill people that's out here on the street. So
I already know you going with it.
everybody came, they was laughing at me. You know, when I said that, they said, man, people talking to a Bluetooth.
To the Bluetooth, right,
You know,
right.
I mean, I've been away so long,
Right.
I didn't know what Bluetooth, you know, earbuds and all that stuff was.
Right.
So that was the funny part about me walking in the street, seeing people just talking. And I'm like, damn, there's a lot of mentally ill people walking up and down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that I did notice, you know, in the neighborhoods, they cut all the trees out.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, in the daytime, it was like a ghost town. And I was like, damn, you know, when I was out there all those years ago, it was always, you know, movement. It was always people up and down the street.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like it was dead, it was dry, it looked like, you know, like devastation, bro. You know, like it wasn't the same.
Right, right.
And then, like a lot of young brothers that's out here now, that like the unity factor is totally different. It was like, you know, everybody knew somebody from a different neighborhood that was all right with that person from that neighborhood, and you know, you can interact with people from different places. Right. What I saw when I came home, like you couldn't go down the block with 51st Street beefing with 52nd Street. It was, you know,
all through the city. Same thing through the city. Every block beefing with the other block, or 2 blocks over at the farthest.
And that's what I noticed that was different from my time up to this time.
All right, so so what you doing nowadays? You said you training or whatever.
Well, I assist, you know, now the gym, with my OG busking. I came home. I got my CDL. I was doing disaster relief. The first couple of years that I came home, which was it really helped, broaden my mind because I was going to wherever the hurricanes hit. I was going to Miami. I was going to Savannah, Georgia, and we would stay, down in these places for like 3 months straight.
You're gonna get blessed for that too.
Yeah, work 7 days a week, and get my CDL was like getting a degree.
Tell me about it.
It was just like getting a degree.
All right, man. So I ain't gonna hold you up, man. I know you're a busy man. This only part one.
Right.
Part two, man. We gonna get into it, man. I need some of them stories, man. I need a bunch more. So this only part one, man. You can tell the folks, man.
Oh yeah, I'll bring my paperwork.
Yeah, we
I
go
got
get the
everything.
paperwork and all
I
that.
can back up whatever I'm saying to you. I got it in black and white.
All right.
I mean, the things that they did to us as far as putting us away, I could write a book about it and it'll hit the New York Times bestseller list. Straight up. I got the documents to show how.
You ever thought about writing a book? I didn't mean to cut you off. You ever thought about writing a book?
Me and Freeway Rick, I was waiting for him, to finish, his thing. Because when he came home, they was in negotiation to do a movie, about him. He was sitting with Universal studio execs, and somehow, they put a halt to that. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't want the corruption and misconduct that they did to that man to come out. But a lot of other movies had American Made with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
That tell these stories.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a shame that he didn't get to tell his story.
It's a shame, right?
But we can tell our story now because now is the time.
Right. All right, man. I appreciate you just coming through, man. Showing love, man. The people gonna love to see this. I'm a fanatic of the city as far as everything that was going on in the streets, in the jails, the law, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate you coming through, man.
Well, the history is deep, and I want to just because you had mentioned all the people that I met.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to just give a few shout outs.
Yeah,
to
come on.
the good men that I was with. Freeway Rick was one of them. Who else? Big Ted Edmonds.
Where you from?
He from L.A.
Okay.
And Tyreek, Lorenzo Duncan. May Allah bless his soul. He was with us, but that was a good friend of mine. We was in like 3 institutions together. A real go hard, solid dude. Had no fear of no one, fight anybody at any given time.
What was his name again?
Tyreek. Sput, Lorenzo Duncan.
Okay.
A real soldier. My old head, Lonnie Dawson. And I'll name the rest of them
when we do
part 2.
One quick one. You ever ran with Bucky from Southwest?
Oh yeah, Bucky was like a little brother to me.
Okay.
I can say that, we grew up together. I know Buck. I know his whole family. And he was he was a brother to me.
Right. Yeah, his name get held in high standards in the city.
One thing I can say about him, he was one of the best amateur boxers that we produced. And he was solid. And the funny part about it is, back in the day, I used to have Buck and my cousin Gould fighting all the time. We used to go to church, and right from church, I used to make them fight. The real people know this story. And that's how a lot of us started, going to the gym because we was inspired by Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray, and all.
All right, cool, man. We gonna talk more, man. It's conversations with Lil Charlie, street legend. Shout out to J.B.M, Southwest, man. We definitely gonna link, man. Appreciate you coming through, brother.
It's my pleasure.
All right, OG.
Thank you.
All right.